The number of locations and items in Morrowind is absolutely incredible, and while many of them may be hard to find or simply difficult to access for one reason or another, there exists a subset that are so far removed from the game, the average player would have no idea they're even there. In fact, some players will be entirely unable to access them, even after learning of their existence. The things I'm going to show you today were never meant to be seen by anyone outside of Bethesda. But by achieving Gem, we can step between realities and into inaccessible spaces between. Or just use the console. It's less detrimental to the delicate mortal brain. Wouldn't want you accidentally zero-summing, now would we? These liminal spaces serve many different functions to the game. Some are cells for testing various gameplay aspects, others act as scripting variables, and some are simply unused buildings. In addition to Morrowind's pocket dimensions are the various unobtainable items, readily available in the game's files, but never used for one reason or another. We won't be looking at absolutely everything floating orphaned in the dark corners of the data folder at once, but I put together a collection of the most popular ones. So let's start with a look at some of Morrowind's developer test cells. As I alluded to earlier, our Xbox-based brethren will not be able to follow us on this journey, as they don't have access to the console window. For the PC players, I recommend leaving a mark somewhere safe to recall to when you're done, since intervention magics won't work in discontiguous cells with no exterior doors. I'll provide you with the list of safe cell IDs at the end, just in case your character isn't magically inclined and you need an escape route. If you're unfamiliar with console commands, the window can be opened by pressing the tilde key just beneath the escape key on your keyboard. To travel to another location, you type COC.
It's cock.
Followed by the cell ID in quotation marks, and press enter. After the game loads, press the tilde key again to close the console window. The first location on our list today comes to us courtesy of Mark Nelson. Mark's vampire test cell does exactly what it says on the can, as when we load in, we'll be confronted with 2 NPCs and a bed, which sounds like the premise for an adult mod.
Please give me cock.
But these 2 are vampires, and the only thing on their minds is lunch, so be prepared to take them down first thing. Once they're dealt with, we can raid their corpses, and take a nap if you like. This cell doesn't have much else going on, which makes sense given its exclusive purpose. But our next area is a bit more dynamic. Get your shoes back on and open your console window. We're off to Character Stuff Wonderland. This cell is a bit of trolling from Bethesda, as you'll load into a dark, circular room inside the central pillar. Looking around reveals many enemies just chillin'. But as soon as you take a step, you'll fall into Sisyphus's black void. Since we're using the console window anyway, you may as well use the command TCL, which toggles collision, allowing you to move free from gravity, passing through solid objects like a ghost. Typing the command again returns you to the world of physics, but the problems are just beginning. Once you're out of the wall, all of the enemies will come at you at once, which is sure to take down the unprepared. If you can manage to survive the onslaught, you'll discover 2 chests in the corner that are unlike any you'll find in the rest of the game. These chests contain the base armors and weapons in Morrowind, making for a one-stop Daedric shop among other notable pieces, both common and unique. For our next location, we're off to the most well-known of Morrowind's developer cells, ToddTest. This location is named for the venerable Todd Howard himself, and is based on the Puzzle Canal in Vivek's Palace. Upon arriving, we'll find ourselves on the raised platform side, where Aunt Hydra would stand. Ahead of us is a set of Dagoth bells. This cistern right here is a very odd thing to see, and you may be tempted to click on it. After all, it gives you monstrous amounts of health and magicka, as well as 100 points of strength and speed, many powerful spells, a number of weapons, and 10,000 gold. That being said, it will also infect you with burn-flavored pyphoric hemophilia, turning you into a vampire within 3 days if you're not healed prior to the 3rd. Jumping down from the ledge, we'll be greeted by Pretty Kitty, Todd's naked Khajiit friend, so think of that what you will. I also just want to take a moment to note that while Pretty Kitty is clearly female in appearance, they use masculine pronouns, so maybe we found a trans character in Morrowind. Pretty Kitty spends their days pacing back and forth through this small hallway with a few boulders to break up the monotony. Just outside the doorway, we can find a chest full of various ingredients for the alchemically minded player. Also nearby are a trio of ordinators guarding a door. They have a simple job. All they have to do is make sure the door doesn't go anywhere, which it doesn't, so good work, boys. Near these 3 stooges are 3 more massive chests. They contain items from the Blood Moon expansion pack. The base clothing, base weapons, and base armors to be specific. Moving on to the south, you may notice that there's currently a cliff racer infestation. It could be worse, as the creature spawns in here can be a bit random. Across 3 different characters to travel here, I encountered a Dwemer Centurion, a Kagouti, and a cliff racer, so you never know what you're gonna find. The table here has a complete apprentice alchemy set and the other ingredients chest, perfect for the budding alchemist. On the next table, we can find a lovely assortment of fine goodies, including a Daedric longsword, a grand soul gem filled with an ascendant sleeper, 3 filled greater soul gems, several piles of gold, and some books. Now, some books may be underselling it a little, as the large chest next to the table contains most of Morrowind's many books, including complete sets of large series like 2920 or the 36 Lessons of Vivek, as well as skill books, quest books, and some notes and scrolls. Do be aware that you may inadvertently start or advance some quests by reading some of these texts. There's also a sneaky Daedric mace hiding under the eastern side of the table that's easy to miss. The 3rd table features a pair of scrolls, but far more interesting than that is a filled copy of Azura's Star and a copy of the Bitter Cup just hanging out here.
Don't put that in your mouth.
If you're unaware of the strange Faustian vessel of Clavicus Vial, you aren't alone. Most players don't ever encounter it, but this cup is capable of raising your best attribute by 20 and decreasing your worst attribute by 20. The Dunmerin Chiton is a very interesting character. Todd's super tester guy, or just Todd for short, provides all services in the game, at least on a technical level, since he has no spells and can only transport you to the other end of the room. But he trains in long blade, block, and medium armor. Plus he'll buy absolutely anything with his 10,000 gold. And with the combination of enchanting, spellmaking, and repair, he's a very handy guy to have around. Up on the platform, we'll encounter an old man practicing his nonchalant fidgeting. This is Admiral Ralston, aka Ken Ralston, lead designer for Morrowind. At the end of the platform is a steel Imperial cuirass, as well as a pair of locked and trapped barrels. The center one has a rusty key, which we'll talk about a bit more later in the items section. It unlocks the barrel it sits on and rewards you with some gold. The cistern on the right is named I Test Sounds. Shockingly, it's used for testing audio profiles. I noticed a slight difference with the volume and pitch settings, but the 3D definitely gives you a surround sound when you loop the effect. On the other side of the platform, we'll find 2 more large chests. Much like Character Stuff Wonderland, these contain the standard armors and weapons for the base game, so that's another full set of Daedric gear if you're so inclined. The last thing in here is the fence door that brings you back to the top of the platform we started on. And with that, we can move on to the most interesting location in my opinion, the rather clunkily named Clutter Warehouse, Everything Must Go. Immediately upon entering the warehouse, you'll be set upon by the proprietor of the establishment, Lord Cluttermonkey, an insane Argonian with a full set of Daedric armor and a very unusual Dwemer mace. This level 45 liminal lizard lord is a deadly manager, but his customer service skills are terrible, which you can see by how he greets his walk-ins. I myself have never tried to electrocute a customer. More than once. Lord Cluttermonkey is fully immune to normal weapons, and the game marks him as essential, which is not accurate. so don't worry about that warning about his death. Also present on the sales floor is a well-dressed Bosmer with a Daedric Warhammer. This is used Clutter salesman, and he's much more professional than his boss ever was. He sells various bits and bobs, nothing incredible. Even still, I like this wood elf. He's not trying to kill us. Now about our lizardy loot crate. If you can manage to bring him down, you'll find yourself the proud new owner of a full set of Daedric armor, our third for the day, including a Daedric Face of God. The other interesting piece is the unusual weapon I mentioned earlier. The Dwemer Mace Clutterbane is one of the most powerful weapons you'll never use. Its cast on strike enchantment consists of several effects: burden, 10 points on self, and absorb luck and speechcraft, damage personality, demoralize, and rally humanoid, all 10 points on touch. Great, why will I never use it, you might say? Well, Clutterbane has a charge of exactly 0, so it will never be able to cast its effects unless you're playing in God mode. But that would just be cheating.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
As for the cell itself, Bethesda has never confirmed the function of Clutter Warehouse Everything Must Go, but the common understanding is that all of the displays set up around the room are templates for developers to copy over to new cells without having to manually place all the items each time. This efficiency even spread to whole buildings, as we can find templates for some of the swamp homes around Morrowind's coast. You might even recognize a few from your travels. I'm not sure about these two shacks, but I believe this is the template for Big Head's shack in the Sheogorid region. And I know this one is the template for Foreign Gilnith's shack in Satanine. If you know where the others may have been used, let me know in the comments. Now that we've explored a few different places, we need to get back to Vardenfell. If you don't have Mark and Recall, the easiest thing to do is open your console and COC
Remember cock?
to a town of your choice. I've put together a list of towns that have travel options nearby and are certified free from drowning or clipping issues in an unmodded install. Note that any towns with multiple words in their names will require quotation marks in the console to work properly. Wherever you end up, get as cozy as you can for a game where you can't sit down, and I'll show you some of the unobtainable items buried in the game files. Now, we've examined Clutterbane already, so we'll just set that aside and move on to what might just be the coolest unused but complete asset in Morrowind. The Wings of the Queen of Bats, a unique battle axe with a batwing motif, and a cast on strike drain health enchantment that hits for 1 to 10 points over 30 seconds on target. Ironically, this item also exists in ESO, but was never implemented in that game either. The next item is one we picked up back in ToddTest, the Rusty Key. Now, I get that this isn't the most glamorous item in the game. It isn't even the nicest looking key. But looks can be deceiving, as the item ID for this simple scrap of metal reveals. This is the original Morrowind skeleton key, from a time in development when the skeleton key was not a unique Daedric artifact, but a powerful and reasonably available tool. Copies were placed in 4 different places, not counting ToddTest. It's always found on a corpse, and besides the barrel in ToddTest, it also opens a chest in Vivek's Slalu Underworks. Next we have a pair of hammers, neither of which ever made it into the final game. First is the item formerly known as False Sunder, a 2-handed dwarven warhammer, which would have presented problems if you only had the right-hand Wraithguard available. The second is a more recognizable variant, Sunder Fake, an unused, unenchanted version of the Kagranaic astrophysical manipulator of First Era fame. Both of these imposters are named Sunder to distinguish them from the properly attuned tonal attenuator. You may be familiar with Degathur's famous cut dialogue line.
Did you get the false copy of Sunder? Shame on you!
Referencing these items. Similarly, Vivek states in the plans shared with the Nerevarine that if they can pick up the tools without wearing Wraithguard, then they are counterfeit. Even still, having a fresh Sunder to enchant however you wish is a pretty sweet deal in my opinion. Our next artifact is another lie. The item known as Red Colovian Fur Hat was supposed to be worn by Grandfather Frost, an early Solstheim Santa character, who was later replaced by Uncle Sweetshare. He was supposed to wear this red and white variant of the traditional Colovian lid, but he was cut before the item received its proper texture, so we're left with this ostensibly normal hat with a dishonest name.
Lies! Oh, lies!
Our next item puts a new spin on an old classic. Most players will be aware of Azura's Star, the largest soul gem in the game, which can be used again and again. Well, this Azura's Star has a slightly different purpose. You see, this is Azura's throwing star. They function like any other thrown ammo, but they look pretty cool anyway. Lastly, we have a strange pair of shoes. The Slippers of Doom are your average common shoes, but they carry a cast when used damage health on self-enchantment for 30 points over 1 second. For the life of me, I don't know why they might be useful, which could explain why they made it into the unused pile. And that's gonna do it for today's look at some of Morrowind's inaccessible places and unobtainable items. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, please do hit the like button and consider subscribing for more. Until next time, I've been GitShiver. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Later!
Do you have cock?